Well, it's time for the first ODI between India and Australia, and we can't be more excited. I mean, given how much of a I don't know if snooze fest is the right way of putting it, but that's what Shomi had to say about the India South Africa Test match that's also going on right now. But a lot of excitement. It's been a while since we saw India play in ODI, especially at home. I'm trying to recollect when was the last time India played in ODI because even the Australia series that happened last year was just a T20 series. Then we played away, against Bangladesh. So there are lots to look forward to. A lot of interesting selections, a lot of names, lot of combinations, lot of permutations that we will be discussing. We've got Shomi, we've got Neha. Hello, ladies. How are we doing today? All excited?
Yes,
Shomi, you can
absolutely
start
excited.
first.
Yes, absolutely excited, especially being backed by those tremendous test wins. I think India will come in with a huge new fervor, and definitely we don't have the best of the statistics going in our favor, but it's time to upturn those tables.
Fair enough. What about you, Neha? All excited?
Yes, all excited. This looks like a new look Indian side. Considering the last time we played Australia, my mind just goes back to that 2021 series where we pulled off that iconic win, broke Australia's consecutive winning streak. But that time our team was quite different. You had the likes of Jhulan Goswami, you had Mithali Raj, so it was a very different look Indian side. But now with the inclusion of a lot of interesting players and selections that we will probably discuss, we still have a good side, and I expect us to be tough competitors to the Aussies and not just be, sidelined or so. So yeah, excited.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not going to be pushovers, that's for sure. But again, in terms of the side that they've selected, the squad that they've selected, kudos to them. A lot of new names, a lot of interesting names, a lot of really good selections, positive selections, and it's nice to see that finally they are moving towards the youngsters, especially because of the hue and cry that had been created around the India Bangladesh series and the setup. Neha, let's start with you. What are some of the names that you're looking forward to watching the series?
Yeah, so that's a tricky one because you have so many exciting and interesting inclusions, right? You have Shreyanka Patil, who's been included. I think Akshay and I have gone on and on about how, we're big fans of her game. She's been such a crucial player for RCB as well. Even in the limited opportunities she's had with the A team and in domestic cricket, only good stuff. Played in the CPL as well. So we have a good sample size to actually, make our observations off of. And you also have Saika Ishak, who's been, phenomenal in the Women's Premier League, the maiden edition, and even in domestic cricket, right? She scalped like 9 wickets in that senior women's one day trophy. So yeah, I'm very excited to see her because the Aussies also wouldn't be expecting to see her. They haven't seen a lot of her, so that'll be quite interesting to see. Plus, we have Tita Sadhu right now. She's primed as the successor to Jhulan Goswami. So seeing her is also going to be quite exciting, and I hope India opts for that three-pronged pace attack with her, Renuka, and Pooja Vastrakar. So that would be like really a bold move to take. And yeah, basically, it's all looking good right now.
Fair enough. Show me, what about you? Any names that you're looking forward to in particular?
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to Shriyanka, but I'll leave that conversation to you, Akshay, knowing that you will be filled with all the good words. But yeah, coming to the one that I'm really looking forward to, of course, because I am also from Calcutta, I'm definitely looking forward to Saikya. But the point here is not just because of the regional favoritism. That's of course is there, but beyond that, I think she has been phenomenal, as Neha mentioned. Starting with the domestic career, she was literally someone who had played alongside Jhulan Goswami in the domestic circuit. She has been there for a very long time, so she definitely brings in a lot of experience with her. We have seen how flourished she has been across the India A formats, across WPL, so on and so forth. And beyond all of that, if we just look into her story, of course the rags to riches story always attracts a lot of attention. But in this particular case, the way she has taken that into her character, the way she has been that ziddi khadus kind of a cricketer, which we generally associate with the Mumbai cricket circuit and not so much with the Eastern India. I think that's something that which she brings in, which is so much refreshing for us from the eastern part of the country to see and to kind of witness that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Saika and hoping that she really brings in those colors in India cap.
Definitely, and given the fact that she's probably the only sort of known slow left armer in our squad, so it's all likelihood we can expect her to get her maiden ODI cap today. As far as Shriyanka Patil is concerned, yeah, if there is a Shriyanka Patil train, I am the train master. I just can't stop raving about her. She's just a proper excitement machine. So yeah, like I don't know, it's just great to watch her. Let's hope we get to see more of her. She is that X Factor player, at least according to me. But yeah, coming back to the Indian setup, we know in terms of the kind of squad they had in the Bangladesh series that we ended up losing to. I mean, not losing exactly. We know how that ended. I don't know. I would say losing because morally, yeah, I don't think we sort of deserve to be called even joint winners of it. That was not the greatest of memories, so to say. We'll get to that as well. By the way, toss update right now. India have won the toss and opted to bat first. I have the channel in front of me. I'm trying to wait for some live updates, but the happy or content showing the India-Australia test highlights. I'm not sure what's happening here. Let's just hope the broadcasters get their game right soon. Yeah, but again, like I was mentioning, the India-Bangladesh series, there were a lot of names, a lot of legacy names, so to say, a lot of usual suspects there. That's not the case now. So in terms of the 11 that you're expecting, because we know that India won the toss, but we're not sure what the combination is like. Neha, again, let's start with you. What are some of, what's the 11 looking like for you?
Yeah, so while I was actually writing the preview, I figured out what could be my ideal playing 11. So, of course, I'm going to start with Smriti Mandana and Shefali Verma right at the top. They are my dependable duo, definitely there. At 3, I'd, include Jemima because she's coming in from a good vein of form from the tests onto here. Plus, in the Bangladesh series, she was actually looking really good. At 4, I'd slot in Harmanpreet Kaur because I feel that's an ideal spot for her. Then at 5, I actually took a punt and I went with Harleen Dior because I feel, she can add in that extra punch to the batting setup. And at 6, I have Richa Ghosh as my keeper because she's in that, purple patch. I do not want to break that flow for any fitness issues or, so to say. I have Deepti Sharma coming in next because, again, all-round option. She is that X factor that all of us need in our team. And then I have Shriyanka Patil. No biases here, but she again has been in great form throughout, the A series and the limited opportunities she's got. Then I have Pooja Vastrakar, Renuka Singh Thakur, and Titus Sadhu. So this is my 3-prong pace attack as well. I think that makes 11, right?
It does, and it's pretty much in line with what I also had in mind. But show me, let's start with you as well. I mean, not start with you. Let's take your opinion as well in terms of the 11. How is it sort of structuring in your head?
So for me, definitely Shefali is an auto selection, power buster. Then I do have Yastika in place of Richa as my wicket keeper. Definitely because of the kind of form and the maturity that she has been showing across the test series. So she has come into my side. And considering that we can either pick a Richa or a Yastika, I have picked a Yastika because, we have not seen Richa in the last Bangladesh series, so I'm not really sure what is she bringing onto the ODI side at the moment. Though she has been in good form as well. It was a very close call, but just a matter of choice. Harmanpreet definitely comes in. Jemima, of course, there's no second thought about it. Of course, she has been the highest run getter in the ODIs this year. Deepti Sharma, as Neha mentioned, the all-rounder. I do have Amanjot in my list. I think she can be a good inclusion, and she's someone whom we have not seen a lot, as well as the Aussies have probably not seen a lot. So probably that can be a good inclusion there. Sneha Rana, of course, comes in because of the form. Pooja Vastrakar and Renuka are almost an auto selection. And as we spoke before, Saikia is definitely in my playing 11. I think also I was trying to look into the fact that how we can actually have a good 6 bowling option, and with this team, I think we will have that kind of a good strong 6 bowlers that can come in. Saikia can definitely be the 6th bowling option, or she probably also becomes a kind of a an automatic choice because of the left arm spin bowling option that she brings in. Something that I would just take a little bit of while to ponder upon this fact, which also goes back to our team selection, the squad selection, is Devika's exclusion was a little heartbreaking, which we spoke about during the when we were wrapping up the test match, when we were looking forward to the ODI selections as well. Devika's selection not being included in this particular team is a little heartbreaking, especially because of the fact that the kind of things that girl had to go through always, And then performing in Bangladesh, she has been a good performer. And in spite of that, when she goes out, we still don't know the real reason. I'm not sure if there has been any kind of a real discussion about that by the team. But yeah, that's something that didn't go down very well with me. Yeah.
That's actually a good point, because it's not like she performed badly in the India Bangladesh series. Somehow, on the back of my head, I don't know how much of that, going unsold in the auction bid also played a part in sort of, BCCI trying to understand, where she fits in, and maybe they have a picking order. We can only hope that, there is proper communication channels going on between the setup and the players. That's all we can ask for. But a couple of very interesting names, Shami, you mentioned. Amanjot Kaur, again, another name I did think of, maybe instead of Titas, we can have her. She also adds that batting depth. She can add to that batting depth. So there is that. I also like what I saw of her in that third ODI, the way she sort of scored those couple of fours. Proper, ekdam, I like the vibe. But again, still probably ODIs, they would want to sort of stick to what they've seen before. And the only sort of other name that sort of has been a bone of contention for me is Harleen Deol. Neha did mention that she would like to have her, she sort of packs a punch in the middle order. That's where I'm not sure if I'm entirely sold on that. Like, if I would want someone like a Harleen Deol in the middle order. So for me, it could be Jemmy, Herman, and I would probably even have Deepthi at number 5. I still feel, again, Deepthi, the limited overs batters, probably not the greatest out there, but, in a format like the ODIs, she's still more than, handy. At number 5, especially 6, 7, 8, I had someone like a Pooja Vasrakar. Then I had Shriyanka at 8. I'm forgetting number 7 pe maine kisko rakha tha. Of course, there was Richa Ghosh at number 5, Deepthi at 6, then Pooja at 7, Shriyanka at 8, 9, 10, 11 would be Titas, Shaika Ishaq, and Renuka Singh Thakur, of course. So that's how I had it in my mind. We can only wait and watch, how they go about it. Sneerana's, of course, back in the setup. So for all we know, Sneerana will be the one chosen over Shriyanka Patil, given her recent form, understandably so. Let's take a couple of comments before we well deeper. Vasant Narayan asks us, does playing in one venue help the Indian side, the women's side especially, in white ball? Small take, why should Verma play with so much inconsistency? Let's start with the first bit. Interesting question. Neha, let's start with you. Do you think it helps that, they're playing, at the same venue in the same city time and again, or do you think change would probably work wonders for them as well?
So answering this first question, I think it would do India a world of good, playing at the Wankhede, because these are conditions they're acclimatized with. They know what to expect from it. And having played, so many matches here, I think it should definitely work in India's favor. And just looking back, I think the last ODI we played against Australia at the Wankhede was way back in 2012, where we succumbed to very huge losses, and it was quite disappointing. But aside that, we have a very different team now, and I definitely expect us to, make take advantage of these home conditions. So in that sense, I'm quite optimistic that we can make the most of it.
Fair enough. Show me, what about you? Like, do you think probably India should explore playing in different venues? But given that you're a Mumbaikar, maybe you're happy, seeing all the matches happen in Mumbai at home.
Yes, all the more happy. But also, this is, I completely agree with whatever Neha mentioned. Just adding a little point to there is, the point that we spoke about last day, that having the crowd, having that entire energy around them, and also getting used to the pressure that a crowd brings. That probably is the most probable when you are playing in a venue like Mumbai, and especially Wankhede. So I think from that point of view, playing in Mumbai, in Wankhede, definitely will do a world of good to the Indian cricket team. Yeah.
Fair enough. And speaking about Shefali Verma and her sort of inconsistent returns, and this has sort of been the case with her for the last year, or maybe even year and a half, because it's sort of been an extended, lean patch. And she does come up with that odd performance here or there, and we're like, yeah, you know what, she has it in her, and you feel like extending the rope. But where do you think should, BCCI or the selectors draw the line? Because it's been a while now. It's been a long time coming, to be honest. If she's eventually sort of replaced by someone else, it's understandable for us as fans as well. But where do you think should BCCI draw the line? Do you think they should still persist with her? Or do you think, yeah, maybe the time's soon running out for her? Neha, let's start with you.
Again, now with Shefali Verma, right? She was brought into the team very young, so there were obviously expectations on her. We saw her performances come in here and there, but I think consistency has been her biggest enemy. And every time she has to silence her critics, she comes up with that big knock to ensure that all the chatter about her bad form dies out. But I really feel like this series could present her that perfect opportunity to actually make a mark, because I think while she was playing for the Delhi Capitals, she reflected on how, Meg Lanning's impact on her game really helped her. So if she can just take some of those learnings and bring it to this India setup as well, I think that would really help her game improve. And I think even kind of justify the team management's faith in her consistently in spite of that. So I feel this series should be that final opportunity for her to, make her mark in the ODIs, because we have other options, right, that we can explore right at the top of the order. So this series, I feel, is going to be a turning point for her. I hope, she makes the most of it.
Show me, what about you? And in terms of not just the question, I'll also sort of add another question to that. Do you see a change happening at the top of the order in this series? Let's say she does not perform well today. Do you see someone like a Yastika Bhatia replacing her at the top? Could be Yastika and Smriti and then Jemmy Herman. Do you see that happening?
Might be pretty much possible, but knowing Shifali and her fight back spirit always, I think she will definitely turn the heat up. And yes, every time we see Shifali go out there, there is always a possibility to explode. I think that is what the Indian team is banking upon, and also knowing what kind of a coach Amol Mazumdar is, and the kind of the way he banks on his players. I think that's where Shifali has the best of the environmental support to kind of flourish, and we will only hope for seeing the fireworks, and hopefully it comes.
Fair enough. A lot of you asking, any updates. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for live broadcast to begin because I'm not sure. I'm still busy watching India Australia Day 4 highlights. I don't know till when will sort of this continue. In terms of the 11, we're still waiting. We're still waiting on any updates there. Rohan Patil has asked this twice. Do you watch women's cricket, or are you there just to fill in? I'm sort of this close to taking offense to that, but he gets, I don't know, worries. No, I do watch, man. I do follow to the best of my abilities. That is, of course, there's just too much cricket happening. But given a choice, if anything, I actually prefer watching women's cricket over men's cricket, because there's a clear sort of saturation point that I've hit when it comes to the men's side of it. But yeah, I do follow it, man. As a fan, for sure, I do follow it. Crick Crack, that's an interesting name. He says, did India make the right decision by batting first here, considering the due, and it could play a major role at the Wankhede, of course. Ishan Sharma here would love your opinion, Shomi. So yeah, let's sort of throw it out to you, Shomi, first. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that a valid point?
Yes, hi Ishan. Great to see you here. He's definitely a friend. Now, here in this particular case, yes, of course, we know Wankhede will act up a little bit under the due conditions. But what I also feel is that in this particular case, when you are tackling a match like this, which is definitely a high pressure match, and considering that you are playing an opponent against whom you definitely don't have a great record going in such situations, I personally feel that always taking on batting first always adds up to a little bit of confidence. I think such a thing might have gone through the Indian skipper's mind as well. So yeah, I mean, in all positiveness, I think the confidence factor that batting first brings upon, and then maybe some scoring some big runs and putting it up there, and then making it a little difficult for an Australian side who's anyway coming into this particular contest with a little kind of dented confidence. Of course, they will come in as a Ghayal share, but yeah, I think that might also have caused this kind of a decision making.
Fair enough, and we finally have the playing 11s of both sides. India have gone with a very interesting 11, to say the least. Smriti, of course, is not playing. I'm guessing she's carrying a niggle. I'm not sure what the exact update is on that, but Smriti isn't playing. It's going to be Yastika Bhatia at the top of the order. There's Amanjot Kaur. There's also Sneh Rana. There's Pooja Vasrakar. I'm just randomly reading out names. I'm just talking about the names that sort of caught my eye to begin with. To sort of have the 11 out, it's going to be Shifali and Yastika. Then there's going to be Jemmy. Then there's Herman. Then there's Harleen Deol. Then there's Deepti Sharma, Richa Ghosh, Pooja Vasrakar, Sneh Rana, Amanjot Kaur, Renuka Singh, and Saika Ishaq. Interesting. So Amanjot Kaur definitely gets a look in, gets her ODI cap as well. Neha, what do you make of that 11? Because a lot of names that I generally didn't think would probably get a look in have sort of been included in the first 11. Surprised?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised to, see this because first up, not seeing Smriti was kind of a jolt, but I still think, we have a good batting setup there. And with the inclusion of Amanjot, I'm actually quite happy because I remember in that T20 series as well, she was able to get those wickets, quick runs as well. And she is that dependable kind of character. And we need more all-rounders like her in the setup. So really happy to see her. And another name, Sneh Rana, perhaps, the recency bias of her good performances in the test series has carried on here. So I'm quite happy to see her name being included. But all in all, I think India looks like a settled playing 11. And even, opting to bat first, it really shows that fearless mindset. Like, hey, boss, we are here to win at all costs. We have nothing to lose. We're going to give it our all, and then let's see how things pan out. So in that sense, I think it's looking like a pretty great setup. And even with Yastika and like Richa Ghosh, we see like a backup wicket keeper option as well. So yeah, interesting mix, I'd say.
Fair enough. I mean, it's also time to talk about the Aussie side. I just realized we're 20 minutes into the preview and we've been busy talking about the Indian side. Can't help, can't help it. But yeah, we will talk about it. Before that, let's just take this question from Melville. He asks us, who will be the X Factor in today's clash? Neha, Shami, let's start with you this time around. X Factor for the game. I would say from both sides. Let's pick an X Factor for both sides.
I think from India, Yastika will happily surprise us because definitely it's one of her opportunities and she will definitely bank upon it. And batting first, she definitely has the whole world in front of her to kind of explode out and kind of show what she can really bring onto the table. With respect to the Australian 11, I will really look forward to devastating Alisa Healy because she must not have taken the loss as coolly that she kind of showed up on television. But yeah, so I think they will really look forward, like really look ahead to come back with a bang. And from that point of view, I will definitely look forward to Healy leading from the front.
Fair enough. Alisa Healy and of course, wait for a second. I blanked out ki bhai किसका नाम लिया था Indian team में. Thank God, thank God, thank God. But then yeah, again, Alisa Healy, you mentioned, in terms of her captaincy and how she would be sort of like a wounded tiger, so to say. She would want to, prove a point or two here. Neha, what about you? Your X Factor choices for today's game?
Yeah, so I think for India, it's definitely going to be Jemima. Not just coming from a fan POV, but she's been in a great, vein of form, and she will look to carry forward that to this ODI series. I feel like if there's one format that really defines her as a player, it is the ODIs because she's able to compose her game, get everything right, and she has that perfect template. So I think Jemima is definitely going to be the player, the X factor for India. And with respect to Australia, I think I'd go with T-Mac, Talia Megra. I mean, what a player, man. Every single time she plays against India, she just manages to elevate her game. And she's one all-rounder who is deservingly the most sought after in international cricket at the moment. So T-Mac is my X factor for Australia. And yeah, a lot to see.
Yeah, definitely consider to be this generation's Elise Perry. We know what she did in the 5 T20I series that happened last year. But again, interesting names there as well. And, I was trying to think, when did India last play Australia in an ODI series? I know that they lost 2-1. This was in Australia again around the same time, and Smriti scored that test century in 2021. I'm not being able to recollect how they won that last ODI. So if someone could sort of jog my memory, that'll be great. But in terms of my X Factor players, Sante the Cruz asks me. So my X Factor players, I've gone for two very left field choices. Amanjot Kaur, again, she's someone who can really light up the field on her day. So I'm expecting her to be my X factor because yeah, she has that in her to sort of change the game. Given the chance. So let's hope that happens today. With Australia, I have two names that I've been thinking about. There's Darcy Brown, very pacey, someone I've been looking forward to watching, but haven't been able to catch enough of her. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure if I'm genuinely confused between her and Georgia Woodham, and I'm not sure if that Georgia pick is because of my RCB bias or because of the hitting that I saw of her after the WPL auction. I was like, who is this player? I need to get a look in. I need to get a check on her. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching more of her right now, especially in India, given how the conditions are going to be here. A strong hitter, lower down the order. She can definitely pack a punch or two. So yeah, these are the two names. Between the two, probably I'll go for Darcy Brown because it's not often we see, pace sort of, being an X factor. Like Shabnam Ismail is the only name that comes to me when I think of proper pace in women's cricket. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching her. So those are my two X factor players. And yeah, coming back to the game and talking about Australia now, you guys mentioned Lisa Healy, you guys mentioned Talia Migra. I also briefly mentioned Darcy Brown. Again, in limited overs, Australia is really the team to beat. I mean, this isn't like Test cricket. This isn't alien conditions for them. This isn't an alien format for them. They know this format in and out. Show me, like, again, let's start with you. Like, in terms of Australia and how they set up, it's not going to be as easy as we're thinking, right?
Of course not. So I think I just looked up a little bit of a stats. I think Australia had won 40 out of the 50 games that we have played. I think it has been pretty much a long time before we had won a game there. Also considering that just also when I looked into the stats, I just found out that Alisa Healy averages 49 against India in India. So I think definitely that's something that will back her. But yeah, I say, I mean, considering the fact that they have been just just something outstanding when it comes to white ball cricket. The only silver lining in this particular case is that the last game that India had played was against Bangladesh, which was pretty much long time before. Australia also had played West Indies, which was also a little while before. So probably there is a slight lack of game time in between both these teams, and hence when both these teams come into this particular encounter, they will probably have a similar kind of mojo going behind them. Of course, considering that India have had a lot of young blood, which Australia has not seen. On the other hand, Australia definitely has a lot of experience going in with them. So, yeah, hoping that it will be a fairly contested game. Australia has an upper hand, but let's just hope that we kind of turn this around this time.
Fair enough. Fingers crossed. And finally, they've, the broadcasters have resumed, live coverage of the game. Finally, I could see Mel Jones there, and she did briefly mention about how the shot boundaries are on the square side. So it'll be interesting to see. You can expect a lot of, shots being played on the square. We know all these Aussies, they love their cuts, their pulls, their hooks. It's going to be a very fascinating watch. Neha, again, coming to the Australia side, like we mentioned, like Shomi also, extensively mentioned, I spoke about how difficult it is going to be for the Indian side. And of course, we can only hope that it'll be an evenly contested game. But again, lot of names. Just look at that top order and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the who's who of top tier women's cricket. How do you sort of get past them?
Rightly put, Akshay. I mean, just look at Australia's, playing 11, and it's just decked with batters. I mean, all rounders, right? Who can also bowl a bit. Now, with the likes of Phoebe Litchfield, Alisa Healy, like on your screen, we can see Elise Perry, Beth Mooney, Talia McGrath, Ash Gardner, Annabelle Sutherland, and Georgia Warren. You have batting up till 8, which really goes to show the kind of depth they have, right? And this has always served them well. Be it the ODI World Cup that happened in 2022 that they happened to win. At that time, they also had the likes of Meg Lanning and Rachel Haynes playing. Even in their absence, the kind of side that Australia has built up, unbelievable. And as you rightly said, it will be very difficult to beat them, and they do have that edge coming into this match. But I still feel India can be fierce competitors. We will see, I hope, a nail biting match that ends up in our favor. But Australia is one side that you really want to compete with. They bring out the best in you, and yeah, their side is just decked with jewels of women's cricket. So a mouth-watering clash nonetheless.
Fair enough, and let's hope it goes the full distance, because that's all we can hope for at the end of the day. I'd rather see a fairly contested match than a one-sided affair, even if it's in my team's favor. So yeah, let's hope for that. We are sort of coming closer to the to wrapping up the review. Of course, I mean the preview. Sorry, because the anthems are right now going on in the stadium. Time to sort of take a few more comments before we wrap it up completely. Let's take Manoj Anderson's comment. He says, "Can we get a leg spinner? Even Bangladesh has to. Maybe Amandeep Kaur. Bhai, matlab." Okay, interesting. I know Amandeep Kaur has sort of, created a lot of, curiosity, because first left arm wrist spinner in when it comes to the Indian women's side of it, things. Mumbai Indians, of course, bidding for her. That clearly shows ki boss talent to hai wahan pe. Of course, yeah, even I am equally excited, Manoj. But again, let's throw it out there. Neha, what do you think? Like leg spinner, do you think of it as a necessity when it comes to limited overs?
I mean, for the longest time, I did think that because we had Poonam Yadav, right? Our premier leggy who managed to bamboozle Australia in that T20 World Cup of 2020. But somehow, she faded out and we didn't have so many leg spinner options. But I think with Amandeep Kaur, I hope at some point she is considered to, get that India cap as well because she's had consistent returns in the domestic circuit. And even with the likes of, Ekta Bish, Rajeshwari Gaikwad, these are also like amazing spinners that we have in that pecking order, right? So it will be important to see how BCCI kind of, makes do with this feeder system that we have in place, give them the right opportunities, so to say. And yeah, basically spin has been our, like X factor and something that differentiates us from other teams, right? So in these conditions, getting the most out of spinners is going to be key.
100% Poonam Yadav, and that game sort of brings me back a lot of memories. Have to flex that I was in the Sydney Showground. I was in the stadium watching the game. That was a fantastic game. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget how like we were down and out. We thought कि was 120, 130 ये तो मतलब आराम से chase हो जाएगा. And Poonam Yadav came up with a spell for the ages. But I had to sort of flex that. Come on, I can't not flex. India coming up with such a memorable victory. But show me, what about you in terms of leg spinners? Do you also sort of think that it's not exactly a necessity, or do you think it would be nice to have that variety in our lineup?
I think yes, when it comes to adding up a variety, it's definitely something that we can look forward to, especially when we are playing in India, to create a differentiation factor. That's definitely there. And now, always coming to the point of selection and who will be in the playing 11, who will be in the squad, it's something that BCCI always kind of throws surprises at us. And I hope we get to see some good names coming up in near future. But at the same time, there's always a problem of plenty, more in men's cricket than in women's cricket. But at the same time, it will be always refreshing to see these names pop up.
And again, just my 2 cents. I mean, one name that I really thought the Indian setup should go for right after the WPL was Asha Shobna. Even before Shriyanka, even before Saika, she was the first name that I really wanted India to go for, because personally, again, I do think leg spinners are a lot more aggressive. Inherently, they are a lot more they have that wicket taking ability a lot more than, say, a finger spinner does. So, and that's probably my bias there. And the kind of control she showed during the WPL, I couldn't understand, for the love of God, why didn't she play all 8 games? But irrespective, she is someone who's got great control. I just love watching her. I've lost count of how many times I've watched the highlights of her bowling on loop, because it's great to watch. So she was one name I really thought India could go for. Unfortunately, not the case. Amandeep Kaur, again, another interesting shout. Let's hope they get their due. Devika Vaidya was there, leg spinning all rounder, so she could also have added to the batting depth. So again, maybe that's not how the selectors are looking at it. That's not how the team management is looking at it, which is fair. To each their own. As long as they know what they're doing, we're more than happy to sort of just stay back and support them. Time to wrap up. Once again, why am I saying review? It's preview. Of course, it is preview. Shefali Verma is down there in the middle. I can also see Darcy down. I can see Talia Migra. It's going to be really fascinating to watch. Prediction time right now, gents or ladies. Sorry about that. Shami, let's start with you. How much do you think is India ending up with at the end of the first innings, and who's winning the game? 2 predictions from you.
It's definitely India win, and it's difficult for me to predict, honestly, the score at this point of time. But let's hope that it's definitely somewhere. It's very difficult for me to predict the score. I'm being very honest on that. It's been a long time that India had played a ODI, and in this particular setup. So yeah, let's just hope that India wins this one.
I mean, channelizing your inner Dean Helga, they're just sort of letting it through to the keeper. Interesting.
Yeah.
Neha, what about you? 2 predictions. Who's winning and what's India ending up with?
So I think advantage Australia here. I feel like they might win this first ODI. They'll be coming in with that vengeance ki, "Arey, inko dikhana hai. We lost the test," but that doesn't mean we are easy passengers in the ODI setups. I think advantage Australia in at least who's going to win. And your other question was who the score, right? That India might get. I feel like batting first, India might get like 275 to 80. Hopefully, we get to see at least good knocks, if not a century, because that has long eluded us for some reason. But yes, some good knocks and a score of 275 to 8.
All right, being very sort of cautious there in her prediction. I to go all out, bindas, meko farak nahi padta. I do agree that Australia sort of have a very good chance, especially because they're chasing today, and we know how that batting lineup is looking like today. Oh, by the way, we've already seen a no ball. Oh, that's a huge no ball. That's a huge no ball there from Darcy Brown, right up top. And Yastika started off pretty well. She's timed the ball. She's timed the bones of the first ball that she's faced. So yeah, I'm predicting Virender Sehwag 319. That's how much India's ending up with. But I also think Australia might end up chasing it. So let's hope, 319, that's going to be my prediction, and let's hope India wins. That'll also be that's a hope more than a prediction, to be honest. But yeah, it's time for us also to wrap up the preview right now, because yeah, the game's already begun. The free hit's also over. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, all of you, also for tuning in. I know I've not mentioned it enough before, but please do make sure that you've hit the like button if you haven't already. Also, do subscribe to us if you haven't already. We'll also be reviewing the game at the end of the game, at the end of the day's review as well, because of course Avnish, Gurkirat and Nikhil will also be reviewing the day's play when it comes to India, South Africa. We'll be going live right after that. See you guys maybe at 10 p.m., maybe at 9:30. Let's hope we can come in as early as possible, and we'll be discussing how India ended up winning the game. Thank you so much. Have a great day. See ya.